Hi, this is Andy Slamans,
And this is Nathan Simons.
and we sell millions of dollars of product on Amazon every single year. 100 Real Sellers series that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Hope you've had a chance to watch the previous interviews that we've done. We've interviewed a number of really cool sellers. In fact, everyone that we've interviewed, I know and consider them a personal friend. And today is no different. We are talking with Lloyd. Nohl comes to us all the way from up north where there is a lot of snow. And after he's done with this interview, he actually has to shovel 3 feet of snow off of his roof. So we'll delay that as long as possible, Lloyd.
Thank you.
So Lloyd, is interesting. This interview is going to be a little different because we're going to be talking about wholesale, which we typically don't talk about. And it's because I myself have never had much success with wholesale. I know there are a number of Amazon sellers that have had tremendous success. And Lloyd is going to be sharing with us how he has had phenomenal success working wholesale on Amazon. So if you know me, you know I say that there are 1,000 different ways that you can make money on the Amazon sales channel. And anyone that thinks that they have a specific niche that's the only way to make money, it's an absolute false statement. There are numerous ways that you can make money sourcing and selling products on Amazon. And so Lloyd and I were just joking a little earlier. He's doing like wholesale arbitrage, right? I think that's what you called it.
I did.
So if you have your iPhones out, I encourage you to put them away because you are about to go to school. Lloyd and I spent 7 days together in China, and every chance I got, I would sit down with Lloyd and just let him talk. Tremendous business knowledge, business sense, and we're going to get into that today. So Lloyd, tell us a little bit about how long you've been selling on Amazon and how you first heard about it.
Well, Andy, first of all, I'm really disappointed that you're not wearing your Amazing Freedom China trip shirt. I brought mine.
Oh, awesome.
The only problem is my wife washed it, and now it's my favorite belly shirt.
Nice.
So we actually started not on Amazon. So we got into e-commerce back in 2005 by accident. I was in a job that I hated, and a flyer came across my desk. And I asked my wife, I said, hey, do you think we can make money selling these things on eBay? Right. And so we tried it. And our very first, going back to how different things were then, our very first product pictures were taken on our living room floor. Right? Had no idea how to watermark an image. So we'd cut out a little piece of paper with her name on it and put it in the image so nobody else would steal it.
Right.
But we actually did really, really well on eBay at the time. We're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, which was a good income for the two of us. Neither of us have any formal education at all, right? We're just trying to pay the bills, right? So we went from doing that to we continued to grow, and
let me just stop right there. So sure. For the folks that don't know, when you're selling on eBay, you're really in the trenches, right? You're kind of bootstrapping, and you're fulfilling all those products yourself, right?
Sure, and we're doing this out of our home, right? 7 bags of mail going out every day. Our laundry room was like our fulfillment center, right? So the mail lady had it set up with the postal service. They'd come and pick up 7 bags of mail, and our carrier loved it because she got paid a spiff. We're a rural route, so she's getting paid a spiff on the number of packages that went out. So it was great. But it was kind of a 24/7 gig, right? And at first, you really like it because one of the things that attracted me to e-commerce was I wanted to make money in my sleep, right? Like, how cool is that? I'm going to be sleeping tonight, and I'm going to make money tonight. And so we would set our phones so that every time a sale would come through, right, it would make that little cha-ching sound all night.
I know. Look, that's kind of like Pavlov, right? Wasn't he the psychologist? It's response. I forget what they called it. Like a dog. Like when you're pouring the dog's food, you start salivating.
It would go off and would be woo, and we did that for 2 years, 3 years, until finally now we don't do it anymore. But still, it was a lot of fun. Well, we had to have a warehouse because we continue to grow. You got all these products. And so we got a warehouse, and I'm like, we have all these products here. We should probably open up a little store so people can buy these products, right? So we opened up in a great big garage, tiny little tiny little storefront. I mean, tiny, about the size of a bedroom, if that. And it looked like a garage. So I wanted to sell a particular brand within our niche, and I contacted them. They set up an appointment to come see our warehouse, right? To come see our store at the time. He comes walking in the door, and he says, "No, absolutely not. You are not. This is not the image we want our brand to have." And I said, it's okay. I said, we're still growing. I said, I'm going to contact you again. Would that be all right? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Once you guys get a little bigger or whatever, he's like, give us a call back. So I did. And that was actually setting up with that brand. The name of the brand because you own it. Setting up with that brand has been huge with our business. Right?
So explain that for folks that don't know. Some folks listening probably have never done wholesale before. Why? What's the significance of having a storefront?
Okay, so having a storefront really legitimizes you to the brand. You have to bring value. If you want to sell a brand on Amazon, you really have to bring value to that brand other than just being a seller on Amazon. Anybody can sell that product or that brand on Amazon. It really doesn't take a rocket scientist, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to have value for that brand outside of just selling on Amazon, right? And representing them well. The other thing is that you really need to be a good partner, right? You have to be a good partner for the brand in the sense that one of the things that I tell everybody is pay your bills on time, right? There's nothing that a brand likes more than you owe, you pay, right? Do it on time, and they're not waiting for invoices. And we've just made a habit of doing that from the beginning, and the brands that we work with really, really appreciate that.
So you created this. It sounded like almost like a storage, unit, basically.
Exactly.
Maybe like in a retail location. The guy shows up and he's like, "No way."
No way.
You then tell him that you're growing and you will have him back. Was it the same rep or was it a different rep?
So it was the same rep that came back.
Wow.
Right? And so we called them. We moved to a different location. We actually rented 2 locations that were side by side. And now looking back, that place was still a little rough, right? But it had a storefront. And it looked a little bit nicer from the street. So he came in and, we talked to him more, went out, had lunch with him. And we were right on the cusp, but he understood that we as people, we weren't out to damage the brand. We actually wanted to grow with them. And they signed us on.
Wow.
And it's been a phenomenal ride since. It's still a great ride, and we love it too. So,
again, for folks kind of listening, I hear what you're saying. Like, so you took them out to lunch. So you had to build like a trust relationship basically with them. You had to pitch them that like, look, you're going to take care of his brand.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be good people. Really, you do. I mean, in order for people to know that you're good people, you have to spend a little bit of time with them and talk to them. And, they need to know that your intent is good.
Yeah.
Right? You can't make empty promises.
Right. Awesome. So you were fishing for that brand. Bam, you got them hooked. And then kind of where did your business go from there?
So right at this point, so this kind of leads into another thing that you and I talked a little bit before the video was about, I told you I would mention Amazon lending. Mm-hmm. So at this point, we had only sold very little on Amazon. In fact, most of what we were selling was a refurbished product. We were not doing it the right way, right? And we had an opportunity to purchase a closeout. And I'm like, man, this is a great buy. Right, and this was actually not on a brand that we had sold. I'm like, man, this is a great buy. And the Amazon lending loan came across the screen, right? $20,000. I'm like, this is phenomenal timing because capital was a huge issue that we didn't have much capital.
So your first loan offer was $20,000?
$20,000.
Okay, so folks that are watching
19 to be exact.
Yeah, so folks that are watching this, if you didn't see the promo that we put in the Facebook group, or if you're listening on the podcast, Lloyd is going to sell close to $4 million on Amazon this year. So you can see the growth. The first loan he was offered was $20,000.
and that first loan was in 2014. Right? So what is that, 5 years ago? But my wife said, you are crazy. She says, you're going to destroy us. Up until this point, we had paid everything up front in cash. So all of our orders we prepaid, no terms on anything, right? She says, you're going to destroy our business. I said, I went through all of it again, I looked at it, researched it. I said, this is a win. This is a win, right? So we did it and we bought it and it was a win, but that was actually the first product that I ever FBA'd. I had never FBA'd prior to that. So that got us started in the cycle, right, of sending the products in. I recognized right away the volume was phenomenal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. These things are just flying off the shelf, right? It was huge. It was awesome.
Right.
And from there, it's kind of funny. Now, today, I have an Amazon lending loan that came through for $1 million. So
Wow,
I didn't take it. Don't take it. Don't take it. We do still regularly borrow when we need capital because we leverage that money over the course of the year. Because one of the things I told you I do is I refer to it as wholesale arbitrage, right? Wholesale arbitrage. So when a product goes on sale, a manufacturer puts that product on sale, I'll buy deep into that SKU. Or if I know that a good selling product is going to be discontinued, man, I'll go deep into that SKU because it's about making money tomorrow. I always want to make sure that I'm not focused on yesterday's problems and I'm not focused on the money that I have to make today. I want to make sure that I'm setting myself up to make money tomorrow and I have an income coming in tomorrow. So,
wow, that's great. Can you repeat that one more time? That's gold.
When I look, and I do this too when I look at my day. So sometimes it's hard to measure whether a day is successful or not successful, right? And I'll look back over the day. What did I do? Some days it seems like I didn't get anything accomplished, right? But as long as I hit these three areas, I feel real confident that it was a good day, right? Is when I spent a little bit of time taking care of yesterday's problems, right? In a previous business, I actually spent the majority of my day taking care of yesterday's problems, and that's not a good business strategy. So you spend a little bit of the day taking care of yesterday's problems. You have to spend some time making money today, right? But the majority of my time has to be making sure that I'm setting myself up to make money tomorrow. So, that could be creating a listing. That could be buying. One of the things that completely changed the way, and this happened 3 years ago, and our revenue actually reflects this beautifully. So in 2016, our revenue was about 1.8 million. 2018, it was 3.5, and now this year it'll be about 4.3, 4.4. But it was the drop off before that was under 600,000. So we went from 600,000 to 1.8 million in a year. And the thing that changed was I went to a wholesale trade association conference, right, where manufacturers would come and do. And there was a speaker there. And the speaker really, really pounded on knowing what it is that you're good at and knowing what you're not good at. And looking at your business and focusing time on things that you enjoy doing and hire other people to do the stuff you don't enjoy doing. And so I'm sitting in my chair and I'm contemplating, I'm like, what about this business do I really, really enjoy? And I'm like, the one thing I really, really love is buying stuff. I love the thrill of the buy. That is my deal, right? So I come back from this conference, I am super motivated, and I write down, I tell everybody, okay, this is my new job title, right? I am the purchasing manager. Is the buy stuff, because if I buy stuff, I have to sell it. And if I sell it, I have income tomorrow, right?
Right.
And so it just completely shifted the way that I thought about my job and how because I still go to work every day. I go to work at 9 o'clock every day. I have to. That's how I keep myself motivated. If I was left to my own devices, I would spend all my time on a beach or something. I wouldn't be doing work. So I still go into the store every day, still work every day. But that is my focus. My focus is always to buy, right? Because that's setting me up for income tomorrow. And the other people, my wife and we have an employee, they always get nervous when I start looking around and I say, wow, we've got space. They know as soon as those words come out of my mouth, right, that something's coming. We're going to be having pallets coming in through the back door, right? And they get nervous. They don't like that.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that mindset a little bit, going back to that first buy when you took that loan. And I think your situation was kind of similar to mine. When I first started on Amazon, we just used all cash. We didn't take any loans. We built our capital, kind of slowly. But then as I was learning the business, opportunities came along that were just like yours. And I realized that I did have to utilize business debt to get to the growth that I wanted to go to. And so, some people, I forget what the phrase is, you can't chase profit with scared money or something of that nature. And so, talk about that a little bit, that, if you want to scale quickly at some point, either you got to have a good amount of capital or you're going to utilize that in a smart way, right?
You're right about that. And really, I think it comes down to, well, for me anyhow, it really comes down to I work best, and this is one of my key takeaways that you have to know what motivates you. And I work best under pressure. I get tunnel vision under pressure. It's easy for me to focus, right? When either my wife is not happy, or B, right? I'm worried about how I'm going to pay a bill, right? So it's very easy for me to tunnel vision at that point. Otherwise, I'm easily distracted with shiny objects, right? And so, yeah, really you have to have confidence in yourself. And if you're not confident, fear motivates me a lot. It does. And normally, if I'm afraid, I know that I'm probably moving in the right direction. A story I've never shared with you, you know that China trip that we went on? Night before we left, I was bawling to my wife, deathly afraid. I'm like, this is so out of my norm, this is out of my comfort zone, right? But when I woke up the next morning, I told my wife, I've had time to think about it. I know I'm doing the right thing because I am afraid. Right? And it was that trip, Andy, was one of the most fun times. I learned so much. It's an experience I'll remember for the rest of my life. It was good stuff. But
wow, yeah. Well, look, you know what? It's just the fact that you're sharing that, again, like you've accomplished tremendous success, right? Yet, you can be successful, you can be doing really good profit, but there is still always a little fear there, right? Which is okay.
Yeah, there's fear, and then there's also complacency. Another problem you can run into is the "I have arrived" syndrome, and I catch myself in that, every once in a while. So I create pressure situations by buying. That's how I do it. That's what puts my feet to the fire and gets me moving again. Otherwise, it's really easy, to look at those Amazon payouts and be like, oh yeah, we're good. Don't have to do anything. Well, we can ride for a while, right? But really, you have to continue to move forward and continue working. So you have to find what motivates you. So I think for some people, taking vacations and buying stuff is motivational. For me, it's fear.
Talk to us a little bit about, I know you referenced buying some closeouts. I've bought a number of them that have been really good buys, quick turnover. What is it that you think, how have you been able to attract, either those kind of people that offer those closeouts, or is this something that, just in doing day-to-day business, you rub shoulders with people,
Again,
share with us about that.
So in my particular situation, I'm close with my rep, and it's not an abnormal close. It's a mutual respect, understanding that my rep, he needs something out of the game too, right? So he's working, so he needs sales, right? So when he comes to me with a promotion, or he comes to me with different things, I buy into them, and sometimes they're not the most lucrative. Sometimes I might not even agree with the promotion or the thing that brand is doing. I still buy into it. I still promote it. So it's a give and take. I mean, really, when you form a relationship with a brand, you start working with a brand, it has to be a give and take, right? And one of the ways, like I mentioned before, paying those invoices on time. I have other people that I know that have gotten into this business, and they like to get behind on their invoices, and no brand likes to see that, right? They want their bills paid. So be a good partner. Represent the brand well. We have a brick and mortar. We sell that brand in our brick and mortar, and it is it's a good relationship for both us and the brand.
Nice. So share with us a little bit about some of your biggest challenges over the last 5 years that you've been selling on Amazon, because I imagine there's probably going to be people that listen to this on the podcast or watch this interview, maybe watching live now, who have probably maybe hit some walls, or have hit some potholes, maybe feeling down. What were some things that because obviously not everything has been unicorns, right, in your business. So talk about some of those challenges that you face, how you overcame them.
Oof, boy, when I think I'm the biggest enemy in my business. I really do. When I look at my business as a whole, I think, man, I'm the biggest enemy. There's a big transition. I have to step this back a little bit. So I have people that will contact me and they'll say, hey, I'd really like to start selling on Amazon. You and I had this conversation about an individual that called me last week, right? But they have no money. And I always tell them, start on eBay, start generating some capital, do something, right? Go buy something, sell it for a profit. You got to know if it's your deal or not. And oh my goodness, I just lost where I was headed with that. But
selling on eBay, the friend that came to you.
Boy.
It happens to me too.
Yeah, definitely. That train just jumped right off the track. And we'll be about 5 minutes into the conversation. It's going to come.
Right. So that topic was just the challenges that you faced, right? Some of the bigger challenges.
Yeah. So that I say that I'm my worst enemy. But you know what? I lost it. It's gone. Yep. All right. Let's move on. So there are. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Came back. Did you see it? It just came back. So one of the biggest challenges is understanding how Amazon is so much different of an environment than eBay or other marketplaces. Understanding that Amazon is 100% customer centered, right? That it's a different method of thinking, and that really affects how you deal with customer issues on Amazon, right? So the same conference that I went to that I told you I came back really motivated, I'm the purchasing manager. It was amazing to me that you could almost break the room up into 3 different types of individuals. There were individuals there that were currently selling on the internet, right? And they were younger, most of them were younger, and they were having some success. And these are all people that own brick and mortar stores. Then you had this group in the middle that were, they didn't understand anything that was going on with the internet, but they were successful in retail, right? Then you had this other group that were failing drastically at both. But Amazon has so much changed the way even a brick and mortar store has to operate and has to think and has to be customer centric, right? And so one of the challenges is just making that shift in mindset, right? That that customer is right no matter what, right? That they are the focal point. No customer, no business. It's so different today even than it was 10 years ago. And we notice a lot in retail. We have to be able to offer more in the brick and mortar store than we can offer on Amazon, right? So we add value programs in for that. But I think it has really shifted, especially in small specialized retail, how you have to think and how you have to act in a brick and mortar store anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, I find that amazing that they've been able to bring back, really a theme that's probably hundreds of years old. I don't know if it was Dale Carnegie or whoever, would write about, the typical saying, right, was the customer is always first. But right. Somewhere along the way that was lost, right? And then Amazon comes into the game. And, I think that's just Bezos's genius, realizing, building that customer trust. Because as sellers, like, we complain a lot about Amazon, because it can be quirky, it can be challenging at times. But the amazing thing they've done is they have this massive customer base that actually trust when they're going to buy something, it's going to show up in 2 days, right?
You're absolutely right.
And now, like, if it doesn't show up, you're like, really like, wow, what happened? Because
where's my box?
They conditioned us so much. And, I always talk about how crazy it is too. Like, if I have a product I want to return, it's so easy. Amazon will email me the label. I put the label on, boom, they'll refund me as soon as UPS scans that label.
Yeah, it is amazing. So one of the things with new sellers and understanding how Amazon thinks is when they do run into that first problem, that first customer that contacts them and is like, you ripped me off, right? How do you handle that? So a lot of new sellers, when they get started on Amazon, are like, oh, that customer is scamming me. And I look at their responses to that customer and I'm like, oh my goodness. And this kind of goes to what the gentleman the other day that was talking about your future self, right? And I always think of, anytime I handle a situation, a customer that is not happy, right? I take a break, I step back. I never respond right away, right? Especially if they're hot. I step back and allow myself to disconnect emotionally, right? Let the emotion part of it. So I'll go off storm somewhere and cuss and swear and do whatever. Right? Get that out of my system. And then you really have to bring yourself back into like Amazon-centric, customer-centric thinking, Amazon thinking of, right? If I could talk to my future self a month from now, right? What would I be saying to make that customer happy? Because, right, you look at a negative feedback or you look at a negative review, you know, how much would you be willing to pay to get rid of that if you could, right? So why not just deal with it properly right now, take care of it up front? And this is another thing that has changed in our brick and mortar store the exact same way. So now we go digging for problems in our brick and mortar store. We contact customers back, like just like you would do on Amazon, asking for a feedback, right? Like, hey, you know, is everything going well? Right? So sometimes you want to go digging for those problems so that you can eliminate them from coming back, you know, a month down the road or 2 months down the road, or worse yet, they're out telling people about it and you don't know about it, right?
Right.
But
that's a great point, especially for new sellers coming in. I just posted a message I had from a buyer in the Facebook group, and he was like, "Where the hell is my product? You charged my card 5 days later, and now, you know, I still don't have my product. You know what? I'm telling Amazon on your fake store." You know, that was basically his message. So I just, you know, like all of them, I just said, I'm really sorry, you know, for this experience. You know, my products are in Amazon warehouses across the country, and Amazon is the one who's in charge of displaying the delivery times, as well as they're the ones who fulfill it. Please contact them. You know, you just always try to be as nice as possible, right? Because I don't know about your account, but my account, at the end of the day, it's only 2 to 3% overall return rate, which is really good, I think, when you compare that to retail, you know, like what a Walmart or what a Target gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I guess one of the philosophies I always use is to lick them in the face. And I learned that from a really old door-to-door salesman, right? He's like, lick them in the face. He's like, everybody loves puppies and babies, right? Lick them in the face. Don't give them a reason not to like you, you know? Yeah, and now we're all Amazon buyers too, right? So it's a lot easier being an Amazon buyer to kind of take yourself and put yourself in that customer's shoes too, right?
Absolutely.
So look at what they're expecting and where you failed, right? And a lot of times it's not your fault, right? But in their eyes, it is your fault.
Awesome.
Right? You got to see it from that point of view too.
Let's segue a little bit to knowing your numbers. So, you know, we always we're always kind of advocating that sellers, especially when they're first starting out, and obviously as you grow, like, they need to keep track of their numbers to make sure to know that they're actually making profit, right? And so, you know, there's a number of ways to do that. As your account has grown and it's, you know, tremendous growth, what are some tools that you use to help you keep track of your numbers, of your profit loss?
So going back to what I had said before, know what you're good at and know what you're not good at, right? Hire people to do things that you're not good at. One of those for me, staring at spreadsheets. Don't get it. I can look at spreadsheets and I'm like, forget it, right? I can sum a small column. That's about it, right? So I do utilize a software program, Feedvisor. We've talked about this before, because it gives me a ton of data, and we paid for that data, and it's not inexpensive by any stretch of the imagination, but it gives me tons of points of reference and data, and I can look at year over year. I can look year over year on different SKUs, right, to see what is different things that have changed. Maybe they're to the end of their life cycle, right? So that's super important to me too, is getting a good accountant, because you've got to have somebody that's able to handle the financial end of it, right? Take care of all the things that need to be taken care of there. So those are the two things that I'm definitely absolutely willing to pay good money for, right? To make sure that they're done properly and done right.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you're just watching this, if you've watched this before, you know that I always advocate, at some point during your growth, you want to get a professional that is going to handle your numbers. I know for me, I carried a lot of anxiety. I was trying to do it myself. I had like a part-time tax person that would basically do my taxes. But when I finally hit that growth level, and everyone's going to be a little different, I recommend, you know, once you're hitting like 300,000 and up, you probably want to, you know, expense some type of professional to help you track your numbers. It's going to just, for me, it just relieve a ton of anxiety, you know, knowing that a professional was able to pull in all those numbers. So I think that's great advice. All right. So, hey, Lloyd, we're coming up on a half hour. If you could give any type of wisdom or words of advice to a new seller, and I think we've done this the entire interview, what are some specific things that you would share, as they start their journey on Amazon?
Yeah, I guess, we did touch on, I had 4 things written here. The first one is understanding what motivates you. Sometimes it's negative things. It's not always, trips, cars. It could be negative things like fear or pressure. You have to really tap into what motivates you to keep driving, keep going, and to push yourself to risk a little bit. Because, it is business. There's risk involved, right? Secondly is knowing what you are good at and what you are not good at, right? And I would focus the majority of the time on what you are good at, and then hire other people to do the things that you're not good at and the things that you don't enjoy doing. One of the things when people ask me about selling on Amazon is to get started today, right? Do something today. Go watch a YouTube video, right? Go listen to Andy, watch an interview with a real seller, do something to invest in moving in that direction today. If you're going to start, and buy something, start maybe on eBay or another marketplace, right? Facebook marketplace, anything to get into the buying and selling transaction, right? So you're in that mindset, and you'll be surprised. And I know, Andy, you could attest to this, that when you put yourself in that space, opportunities will show up. They're going to pop up. They find you. You don't always have to go looking for opportunities. Sometimes opportunities come looking for you. You just have to have your eyes open. The very last piece of advice that I want to give everybody is, if you have an opportunity to spend time with Andy, you go to a retreat or you go on a trip, make sure you take a selfie with Andy, because if you don't have one in your phone, and he doesn't have one either, he's going to go on Facebook. He's going to find the worst and most embarrassing picture he can find on your Facebook feed, and he's going to post this in this video if he interviews you right down the road.
That's funny. So I do have one final question for you. The picture I did post was you behind a drum set. Was that you just like acting like you're playing the drums, or do you actually play the drums?
Okay, I do not play the drums.
Gotcha.
But that was me doing one of the things that I really do enjoy, and that's the Blue Men Group. We went behind the scenes on the set of the Blue Men Group, right? So we got to go up on stage, and they said we could play the drums, and I'm like, heck yeah, I'm good, right? And had at it, and it was a blast. It was a ton of fun.
That's awesome. All right, well, Lloyd, I'm going to let you get to shoveling that 3 feet of snow off of your roof. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, this is Lloyd Nohl, someone who I've actually had the pleasure to spend almost 10 days with in various settings. Tremendous seller, great business mind, and just doing a phenomenal business. And again, another one of our 100 real sellers on Amazon. I hope you're getting encouragement from these interviews. I know every interview I do, I continue to get encouragement. When I get off, like, I want to continue to buy and sell on Amazon. So if you're getting that kind of encouragement, super appreciative if you just hit the like button. If you just want to give a comment, look, if you have any questions, ask them below this interview, either myself, Liron, Nathan, or Lloyd when he's done shoveling. I'm sure he would be more than happy to answer your questions. So that's all we have for today. Thanks again, Lloyd, and appreciate you.
We've enjoyed helping sellers of all levels navigate the Amazon marketplace, and we've created resources and services to help sellers along the way, like our Magic Image service, our AMZ Professional Account Management service, our PPC management to help you with your sponsored ads. And on this channel, we talk about all things Amazon and how you can build your brand better.